few days ago, I made this video. Take it in your face, you lying, jealous, spreading rumors, mother... And now that we are already after the Game Awards, I want to double down on that topic. Wuthering Waves won an award that I do not think many of us expected, and that is Player Choice Award.
Wuthering Waves, Wuthering Waves.
On top of that, Wuthering Waves was also nominated for the best mobile game. Over past year, Wuthering Waves actually has grown into a complex, full worth it game with a beautiful world, an interesting story, a complex combat system, and amazing visuals. Because of that, in my hand, I am actually looking at Wuthering Waves more like a full-scale AAA game rather than a typical mobile game. So in that sense, I can understand why it did not win the Mobile Game Award. What I did not expect at all was the Player Choice Awards, okay? So listen to this. The competition in this category was huge, okay? We had Hollow Knight Skillsong, one of the most anticipated games in years. We had a Dispatch, which from what I've heard, it's a fantastic visual style experience with an interesting mechanics. We had Expedition 33, which completely swept multiple categories this year, and I genuinely recommend it, okay? We also had our lovely Genshin Impact, a game we have known for 5 years now, and I truly believe it had a very strong year as well. And of course, we had our
Wuthering Waves.
I personally voted for Wuthering Waves in both mobile game and in player choice, simply because I think it deserved it. It deserved it for how much it expanded over the last 2 years, for the sheer number of optimizations, upgrades, and changes, and for how much effort the developers are clearly putting into the game to keep delivering. And that is why it honestly saddened me that during the time when we are getting so much exciting news about the upcoming 3.0 update, a new region, new characters, and so many great things, we as Wuthering Waves player base could not fully focused on the positives. Instead, the conversation got completely flooded with negativity. I personally use Twitter only from time to time, mostly just to open it, post some updates, and stay somewhat active. So when I tell you that I opened Twitter, X, however you want to call it, and my For You page was filled with drama and negativity, I do really mean it. The sheer amount of posts comparing Wuthering Waves to Genshin, calling it a ripoff, discrediting its success, and pushing every questionable narratives was honestly freaking overwhelming. And this was not only Twitter thing, all of this drama spilled over to YouTube at some point and started getting covered by bigger creators as well. So in this video, I want to gather all of this information and talk about how Wuthering Waves being nominated and then actually winning one of the awards created such a massive backlash and turmoil in not only Genshin space, but the player space overall. And more importantly, why this behavior is not only petty and bitter, but how jealousy can actively take away from achievements that are, let's be honest, genuinely deserved. So grab your tea or coffee and let's start our cozy yapfest. Well, in that case, it's gonna be more of a yapfest. I'm gonna be real with you about how one game can be so loved and hated at the same time. Before we go into the detail about what happened during and after Game Awards, let us stop for a moment and talk about what have already started happening before the Game Awards even have taken place. Wuthering Waves was first announced as the 4th official nominee for the best mobile game. Later on, we also got the information that it was nominated for the Player Choice Awards, like I mentioned earlier, and that is when a huge conversation started. And by the conversation, by the way, I mean a massive wave of literal slander against Wuthering Waves, but whatever. I genuinely did not expect that. In this situation, I was stumbling across post after post after post, clearly meant to slander Wuthering Waves in the most freaking pathetic way possible. We are talking about those smaller things like calling WuWa a Gunner game for the 1000th time, or calling in a Genshin ripoff for 1000th time, like Genshin itself was not called a Zelda ripoff for years, but okay, And then it escalated into posting manipulated videos, manipulated posts, trying to shape public opinions by showing Wuthering Waves as something that it is simply not. misleading footage where the game looked absolutely horrendous and completely untrue to reality, up to using AI allegations that were fabricated. And yes, some of the posts about Wuthering Waves were simply opinions, okay? People are allowed to have opinions, but some of them were straight up lies, some worse than others, and we're gonna start with the lighter ones, okay? There was this post talking about the 2.8 story quest where Chisa, the newest character we meet, calls out our character Senpai, and apparently this was framed as something gooner or creepy. And listen, for a Western audience whose entire knowledge about Japanese culture comes only from watching anime, senpai is literally a form of respect. That's it. That's the whole context. You know, that's the whole context. This is not some hidden agenda to be a gooner game. This is just language and culture that you do not understand, and you're slandering the game because of it. But of course, the stupid reason did not stop there. At some point, we got previews of upcoming characters for the 3.0 update, right? And the comparison went crazy. Every single character was compared to someone from Honkai, Star Rail, Genshin, Zenless Zero, you pick your choice. Basically every gacha game that exists in the Hoyo space. And yes, we can agree that some characters had similar vibes or similar color palettes. But guys, in today's world, especially in the gacha space, where new characters are thrown at our face every 6 weeks, it is extremely hard not to see similarities. Take the pink-haired character, for example, okay? A character we don't even know the name of yet. Do you know how many pink-haired characters exist not only gacha but in media in general? A lot. Take Infinity Nikki, for example. And yes, I can universally agree that color palette used for Aventurin and Luke Carson is very similar. But, and please think with me for a second, okay? So is the palette of hundreds of male characters across pop culture, anime, and games. Yeah, it happens. I'm not sure if you are aware, but there is a very limited amount of color combinations. And you know what is the funnest part? The characters are usually designed based on the standard rules that are universally used. I'm gonna give you a little tip and a little knowledge about design, okay? So, for example, green works extremely well with red. You know why? No worries, I'm gonna tell you why. Because it is a complementary color. So seeing green and red palettes on characters is gonna be very common, and you will see that in future, I can assure you. I'm sorry, I got a little bit angry, but anyway. Is it a ripoff? Yes, they look similar. I will give you that. But after watching the trailers, it is already very clear that their mannerism and overall vibes are simply different. And it would be really nice if before throwing around allegations on each side, we could wait for more information, taking the entire 3.0 character roster from Wuthering Waves and forcefully assigning them their counterparts from HSR or other games is honestly just freaking pathetic. Another example was Linie and the fact that her walking and running animation looks like roller skating, which was called a ripoff of Shilonen from Genshin Impact. And at this point, I just want to ask, did we all collectively get amnesia? Did everyone forget Shilonen's idle animation was allegedly taken from another content creator from TikTok who had very distinctive dance-like moveset posted as one of her posts? And that this idle animation was surprisingly quietly changed after the backlash without Hoyoverse ever addressing it publicly. Yeah? No? Okay. The point is, if we really want to dig, we can find uncomfortable and ugly things in both games and in both communities. But the fact that people started flooding Wuthering Waves with hate before the game's awards ceremony just because they were nominated and Genshin was not, it's straight up a bitchy behavior, you know? I don't know, maybe that's just me, but yeah. There were obviously other attempts to discredit Wuthering Waves in terms of performance, credibility, and gameplay complexities. So many that I am not even going to list all of them here, but the biggest one by far was the AI allegation. And this one got so big that many content creators covered it, and I genuinely recommend watching Ryuko-sensei deep dive on the topic, but the short version is this. Someone made a post accusing Wuthering Waves of using AI for their character art. As quote-unquote proof, they posted 2 images that were supposedly promotional illustrations of the 3.0 character Mornie, pointing out differences between them and claiming that a human artist would not make such inconsistencies across arts. The post went insanely viral. So viral that even large Japanese game news platform published articles about it, calling it shocking and claiming that Wuthering Waves character illustrations were recreated using AI. No verification, no proper fact-checking by a public game platform, just posting the news because it's clickable. I'm crazy, but okay. I mean, okay. But people at some point started digging because, something felt off. And it turned out that yes, the image used as proof was AI generated, but it was generated by the person making the accusation. Yeah, the guy straight up created AI image and posted it as the original Wuthering Wave illustration. You bearing with me? Okay. They deliberately created an AI version of the promotional illustration and used it to accuse Kuro Games of using AI. The audacity. And the problem is that it wasn't like just a lie. This was a fabricated lie meant to cause as much damage as possible. And the worst part is that in today's world, people are not eager to verify information. Like, everything moves so fast. We are reading headlines, we scroll, we do not stop to think twice. And because of that, the damage is already done. Many people will forever remember Wuthering Waves equals AI, even though it's simply not true. And even when we look at the original images and notice differences, it's not the first time that this happened. Ryuko-sensei showed examples with Chisa, where her promotional art differed from her official art. That happens. Designs evolve, artists refine things. That is normal. As you can see, a lot happened. A lot of unnecessary things happened, all because Wuthering Waves was nominated. And that is what for me makes this whole thing so sad. As a player base, we should have been celebrating. We had so much to celebrate. Nominations, upcoming 3.0, a new region, new mechanics, new characters, and instead we got simply flooded with posts, videos, and even articles slandering not only Wuthering Waves, but also Wuthering Waves content creators. I expected the hate if Wuthering Waves wins something. With, for example, the Baldur's Gate 3, remember that? Tons of the praise, but also people saying what even is this game and why did it win? That is normal. But all of this happened before even the Game Awards concluded. Wuthering Waves was nominated for a freaking reason. For the past 2 years, developers worked their asses off to get the game where it is now. Not like some other games after 5 years, but whatever. And yes, there are things I do not like. I roll my eyes when the rover gets glazed again, or I notice the imbalance between female and male characters. I'm not blind, but objectively, sit down for a second. Putting my personal bias aside, okay? Because I've been called Kurobo as well. This game deserves a recognition, and it got it. And that brings us actually to what happens next, because what happened after the recognitions was just as crazy. The Game Awards officially took place on December 11. Because of the time zone difference, I was not able to watch it live, but when I woke up on December 12th, the very first thing I saw after checking my social media were comments and private message telling me that yes, Wuthering Waves officially won an award, and not just any award. It won the Player's Freaking Choice Award. And I have to admit, I was surprised. But it was a happy surprise, I genuinely happy, because that meant that people not only enjoyed Wuthering Waves, but also that it managed to win a category that was 100% player voted. And considering the competition this year, I can say that that was huge. This also actually means that it was not only the Wuthering Waves player base voting for the game, it had to be people outside of the core community as well. For example, even one of the biggest streamers, Arsmogol.
Wuthering Waves is the better game.
I play odd.
So with competition like we had this year, which I already mentioned multiple times already, Wuthering Waves winning a full player voted category like player choice is massive. It's not only something to celebrate as Wuthering Waves players, but, and hear me out, this is also a celebration of growth, of trying to get better, of listening to player base, and actually, I don't know, improving the game. Although, after everything I explained in the previous section, I fully expected crash out. Yes, I was not disappointed, but I was also a little bit, I don't know, surprised. Because the loudest wave of dissatisfaction did not actually come from where I expected it to come from. So the biggest backlash, at least from what I saw, came from, and listen to this, Dispatch players. Now, to be clear, I did not play Dispatch myself yet. I only heard about it, and everything I heard was actually mostly positive. From what I understand, it is more of a narrative, interactive, movie-like experience, which is actually something I do really like. For example, Lost Records, Bloom, and Rage. And I am telling ya, if you enjoy narrative-driven games like Life is Strange or even Until Dawn, although Until Dawn is more of a horror game focused, never mind, you should at least check it out, okay? Back to the topic. Dispatch is definitely on my list whenever I have more time, so I want to check it out, right? But some fans of the game went a little bit, overboard with their reactions. There were a lot of arguments about what even count as a game, calling Wuthering Waves trash, or because Gunner players voted for it, completely invalidating what Wuthering Waves actually is as a game. I assume they never opened it, and I am assuming a lot of those people did not even check Wuthering Waves properly, but to each their own, I guess. Of course, one of our favorite recurring arguments came back that Wuthering Waves is a Gunner game, and from what I saw, those comments were deflected in a very interesting way. Some people started bringing up that Dispatch has a literalist scene, and that was a weird argument in my opinion. So I was like, you know what? Okay, now I'm curious. I have to check this out. And okay, I can see that. I can see that. I admit it. Anyway, back to the topic, I'm so sorry. Player's choice is 100% voted by players. So calling Wuthering Waves a thief and saying it stole the award from Dispatch sounds a bit like, I don't know, bitterness. Especially when you consider the other competitors. I mean, okay, that's gonna be good. Did Dispatch players really look at who they were competing against? Expedition 33, which swept the competition and won 9 awards that night. Hillsong, which people have been waiting for years. Genshin Impact, which is literally the precursor of open world gacha RPGs and deserves credit for that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be real with you, Dispatch players. I really do think you had a very small chance to win in this lineup. Better yet, I really think that you had no chance. I'm sorry, I think that someone had to tell you this. But yeah, with all that said, I did not expect this level of drama from Dispatch players. But overall, the Dispatch backlash was kind of funny. And at the end of the day, this kind of reaction is actually very normal. Every year, someone feels robbed. Every year, some community feels that their words were unfair. I mean, 2 years ago, everyone argued that the voice acting award should have gone to the Spider main voice actor instead of Astorion's voice actor from the Baldur's Gate 3, and of course, the Gunner argument came back again, but this time, there were about the Gunner girls voting for Astarion. By the way, I voted for him as well. But anyway, it happens every year. It's almost a tradition at this point. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the situation during and after Game Awards. And even though there was a lot of screaming, we as Wuthering Waves player base, I believe we were actually fed pretty well as of late. As we can all see, This is not something unexpected. It happens every single year. No matter the game, no matter the circumstances, it happens because of the competition. And in a way, it is actually beautiful because it means that games as a medium and as a form of a creative expression can make us feel so much. People get emotional. People get protective over the things they connected with. And that is fine. We should express our support for the game, the creators, and the media we believe in. That part is completely healthy. The problem starts when support turns into the hate toward the competitor. And in the case of Wuthering Waves, this hate was not only massive and completely undeserved in the scale, but also foul. Because Wuthering Waves did not receive only the usual criticism that the game hears all the time. This time, people went way farther. They started fabricating lies, deliberately creating false narratives to destroy the reputation of the game. And this is not criticism, okay? This is not defending your favorite game. This is not even being a freaking hater. This is straight up being a bad person with zero morals. People are throwing accusations way too easily these days. And yes, I know this was always a thing throughout the history. Even in medieval times, your neighbor could accuse you of being a witch and that alone could get you killed. But I truly believe that I don't know, with time and with all the resources we have today, maybe we would learn to think a little bit more before saying or doing things that can seriously harm others? No? For example, I personally wanted Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to win some awards. I genuinely believe this is a great game. I spend a lot of time playing it. It is incredible, immersive. So yeah, I had my own thoughts that in the RPG of the Year category, it felt a little bit robbed. I'm not sure if you agree with me. Let me know down in the comments. So yeah, I had my own thoughts, but because in my personal opinion, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is simply a better RPG. Even with those thoughts, I am not angry and I am not slandering Expedition 33 for winning this award. And overall, as a player, I am happy with how the Game Awards concluded, because this was not the year where mediocrity won. This was the year where genuinely well-made games won. Games with deep stories, beautiful visuals, amazing music, great performances. Games that simply deserved it. So yeah, that is how I wanted to end this video. If you enjoy my cozy fest and you would like to see more of videos like this on my channel, let me know down in the comments. I know this one was a little bit different. It was more personal. I don't know. I think I just needed to run a little. Remember to subscribe to the channel because a lot of you are watching my videos without being subscribed. And at the end, I want to remind you that I am still working on Christmas illustrations for my Starlights. They will be available for free on my Coffee as wallpapers. I really hope I will manage to finish them on time because I decided to be ambitious and productive, even though time is not always on my side. I want to give you a small present for this beautiful half a year that we already spent together. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video, let me know down in the comments what are your thoughts on the whole situation. And as always, stay cozy, stay shiny, and I love you so much, Starlights. Bye!